Okay, hi everyone, Zalos here with another tutorial. So on this tutorial we're going to be talking about modifying your gloves. So if you buy a standard pair of lacrosse gloves, it's gonna have this wrist guard. And you'll see that a lot of people cut this off. And the reason they cut this off is so that when you get hit in this location here, and it hits this spot, you can feel it. It doesn't get counted as a hand block. A lot of time these are referred to as slough cuffs because they block a valid shot to the arm. So usually like here and up is a good shot, but these will block a good portion of your wrist. So people cut these off. But a lot of times I see people do not cut them off, and I ask them, why haven't you cut this off? And most of the time they're saying, oh, they don't want to damage the glove. In a way that it just makes the glove useless. So I was going to do a quick tutorial because I had to cut these. I haven't cut these yet, so I was getting ready to, so I might as well show how I do it. So there's a couple of different ways to do it. You can use scissors, or you can use any knife. I'm using a box cutter knife here. So the first thing you want to do is look at the glove and determine the places you need to cut off. So you need to cut this thing off. You could technically leave this thing if you want. So I'm going to cut this off though, and then you want to look, once you get this part off, you want to look at all the different places. So here I'm going to cut along this, I'm going to cut along this, cut along this, and that will just come off with it. So some things to keep in mind is if I were to cut here on this, in here, if I didn't cut this part off, this whole thing here is going to be loose. So something to keep in mind is when you go to look at your cut, because it'd be really easy if I just cut this here, cut this here, cut this here, but this whole inner piece will be loose if I do that. So if I cut it just on the edge here, just cut this part off, the stitching on the inside won't become loose. So something to keep in mind. Look for stuff like that. So first part here, I'm just gonna cut this off and make sure you have a new blade in there. Just make sure it's good and sharp. Just right on there. Cut right through that like butter. Butter. And try to cut away from yourself so you don't cut yourself. Step one complete. I'm gonna go ahead and cut off this thing so it's not in my way. Okay, so this thing's basically off. Don't really need to keep this on there. All right, so now this is the part that's a little bit different. So you can see the stitching comes over and is connected here on this piece. So I'm gonna try to keep this on and see if I can just cut around that so that the stitching stays solid, but if I can't get it to work, then I'll just cut it off. So we got this little bit of foam in here. Pull this foam out. Just clean it up best you can. And the thing is, if you don't like these edges, you can cover them with cloth tape or something like that. And there you go. The cuff is off. You have some good gloves without the cuff there, so you can still feel all your hits.